Here's a scenario I've seen hundreds of times. Your new cold email campaign just went live. You're sending a lot of outbound, but the replies, they're not coming in, or maybe even worse, they were coming in before and now they're not. And the issue is that you have no idea what changed. We send over 100 million cold emails a month. So when I tell you that these are the things that kill campaigns, I'm not guessing. I've seen it happen thousands of times across thousands of different campaigns. So here are 11 things that you should never do after you launch your cold email campaigns. Number one, you need to stop checking your campaigns 20 minutes after they launch and obsessively after that. The thing about cold email is it requires volume and it requires time. So if your emails haven't even reached a quarter or a half of your list yet, you shouldn't be worrying too much about the replies coming in. You need to give it at least 3 to 5 days before you really start checking the metrics. And even when you do start checking them, you should only be focused on replies and positive reply rates. That's it. Everything else early on is simply noise. The second mistake I see a lot is people immediately changing the copy because things don't work right off the bat. So let's say you launched 2 days ago and your open rates are sitting at around 30%. Your first instinct is going to be to rewrite the subject line, but don't do that because you haven't given the campaign near enough volume to actually be able to analyze and understand, are these subject lines a problem? If you change your copy after 50 emails, you haven't tested anything. You need volume and time to actually make a real test. The criteria that I use is around 500 emails. I will typically A/B test a couple different subject lines and a couple different body copies inside of those emails. And after about 500 emails sent, if I don't like what I'm seeing, then I will revisit, but definitely not after 50, 100, or even 250 emails. So point number 3 is kind of the opposite problem, and that's never changing anything at all. Some people will launch a campaign, think their work is done, let it ride for weeks, and then wonder why they're not getting positive replies. Cold email is not a set it and forget it thing. It's very much like ads. You need to be constantly monitoring, constantly iterating. But I want to talk about something that you might not be considering, because a lot of people think I need to change my subject lines, I need to change the copy in my emails. But a huge problem that I see time and time again is people not having the correct infrastructure set up, and it basically kills their campaigns before they even start. Because you could literally have the greatest cold email copy of all time, but if your emails aren't landing in someone's inbox, it doesn't matter. You don't have a chance. So a huge mistake that people make is obsessing over their subject lines, their email copy. They refine it over and over again instead of actually looking at what's my deliverability. Are these emails actually ending in the inbox of someone that I want to speak to? Because ultimately, if that's not happening, literally nothing else matters. By the way, if your deliverability is an issue, a lot of it, if not all of it, comes down to how your emails were set up in the first place. But that's exactly what MailScale does. We generate all your email accounts with DNS already configured. It only takes about 60 seconds and it costs a fraction of what Google or Microsoft costs. Link is in the description if you want to check it out, but moving on to point number 5. And it's essentially blasting your entire list on day one. If you've got a list of, let's say, 10,000 leads, and you try to email all of these leads in one day, congratulations, you just completely torched your domains and your cold emails. Even if your infrastructure is dialed in, email providers are watching your sending patterns. They see you go from 0 to thousands of emails overnight. That's a red flag. Their AI detection systems are so good, they're going to put a stop to that immediately. So you need to ramp up. Typically, best practice is going to be to put it into your email sending tool instantly, smart lead, whatever. Do a warm-up period of 2 to 3 weeks, sending roughly 10 emails per mailbox, about 30 total per domain. And by the end of that 3rd week, you'll be ready to start blasting those emails out, but you do need this warm-up period. And speaking of destroying your domain reputation, issue number 6 that people typically run into is stopping your email warm-up after you start sending. Even if you're sending 20 and 30 emails per mailbox per day, you still need to be sending warm-up emails. Those warm-up emails are guaranteed to land in an inbox, keep the domain healthy, and keep it fresh. Because inevitably, some of the people that you reach out to, they moved on, maybe they don't have that email address anymore, maybe they got a new one, so it bounces. You're gonna hit some deliverability issues, and that is why it is so crucial to keep warming up those emails day after day. Now, problem number 7, and this is a real psychological one that so many people battle with, but it is responding emotionally to negative responses. I'm just going to tell you right now, if you're doing cold email at scale, you're going to get a lot of negative responses. So you've got to be able to just forget about the negative replies. If anything, just try to laugh at it. Why would someone get mad about an email landing in their inbox? So best practice typically is going to be delete that person from your campaign. Don't respond. It doesn't matter. They're probably not going to report you for spam. You can move on. It's all good. If you reply emotionally, that's where you you get in trouble. Now, point number 8, something that you need to be very, very careful of is sending the same copy from every email account. Let's say you have 30 different email accounts and you're using the exact same copy to send from each email. Well, the AI tools have gotten so good at identifying spam, it's going to quickly correlate. Hey, we see these 20 to 30 email addresses sending the exact same copy. Are they linked together? You're going to get banned doing that. So you have to be able to switch it up. The good news is that a lot of these tools like Instantly and Smartly will allow you to mix and mash emails, so it's not going to send the same copy over and over again. And ideally, you're probably sending to different segments. And so if you're sending to different industries and segments, your copy really shouldn't be exactly the same anyways. Number 9, this is something that drives me crazy that everyone seems to do, and that's putting links in your emails. But just think about it from a practical standpoint. If you get an email from someone you don't know and there's a link in there, what is your gut reaction? Is it going to be, oh wow, cool, this person just reached out to me, let me click on this link, let me look at this? No, it's going to be, wow, this is spam, someone's trying to phish my account, I need to delete and block this person. It sets off every red flag possible, not only in the automatic spam filters from Google and Microsoft, but also from a psychological standpoint of the person you're reaching out to. Never include a link. If you do have a link that you want to include, for example, I send a lot of Loom videos to potential customers. I say, hey, I have this deliverable for you. Would you like to see it? And only if they explicitly say yes, do I then send a link. Now, number 10, you either are sending too many or too few follow-ups. There really is a sweet spot. I would call it 3 to 4 follow-up emails. Once you hit that 5th email in a sequence, you're going to start risking getting flagged as spam. It's one thing to follow up a couple times, but if you're landing in an inbox 4 or 5 times with no response, by that 5th time, there is an increased significant likelihood that that person is going to report you from spam. I have sent millions of emails, and every single time it is the 5th email in a sequence that really gets me in trouble. Now, number 11, this is the biggest mistake of all, and I've done it before. You've probably done it before. That's panicking and shutting everything down. I remember about a little less than 3 years ago, I had campaigns that were crushing it. And then all of a sudden, the cold email world changed. Deliverability completely shifted. The way emails landed in the inbox shifted. I panicked. I deleted everything, said cold email's dead, and I moved on. Here I am, almost 3 years later, ripping cold emails every day, and I would have done myself a huge service if I would have just kept sending them. Maybe you can relate. Maybe you launch a campaign and in the first week, it's not working the way you want it to, and you shut it down, pause the campaign, or even worse, you just delete everything. Cold email does work, but it's not magic. You need to give it time. You need to have patience, and you're probably going to need to invest a little capital in your infrastructure, in your sending tools, and scraping leads. It will require that. The people that win with cold emails aren't the ones that are masters at copy, subject lines, and testing. They're the people that iterate, don't stop, and just keep going. So now you know the 11 things to watch out for that will absolutely kill your cold email campaigns. But knowing what not to do is only half of it. You still need to know what actually works right now. So click this video where I break down what is actually working right now with cold email. We break down the exact framework, the setup, the approach, the copy, everything that you need to start booking calls consistently. If you're ready to dive in, I'll see you there.